This brand new video. Today I'm joined with Thor, the Instagram star, Leo's business partner, and human being extraordinaire. Today we're talking about spirituality, whatever else that comes up, anything and everything. We're going to share lots of topics, lots of juicy details. And this is live, by the way, so if you're watching this recording live, shout out to you. Ask whatever questions you like. And without further ado, Thor, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. Doing good, doing good. Feeling always feeling nerves before doing these kinds of things, like anxiety. Some like it's at the core of it is performance anxiety, because yeah, just like which has been with me like as far back as I can remember. I've always been super nervous before like football matches or even going snowboarding, which is my favorite thing in the world. Like I would always feel some level of tension just going to the mountains because like if I don't do that trick or if I don't like do whatever, I won't be happy with myself, and so it's gonna be like fuck. So even like on this, like there's this need to perform. Um, so that's which is interesting, as I'm now aware of it, it's like, okay, cool. And like Leo's been teaching me because he's been probably my most influential spiritual teacher. It's like just you're feeling that thing, like that's fine. So just be present to it and then do whatever you got to do still. So yeah, thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm also in the same boat. In fact, I couldn't sleep until like 3 or 4 in anticipation for this episode. This happens naturally every time that I do episodes with another person that I think is gonna bring me up to another level. Uh,
Mm.
just excitement or nerves or whatever this is, but yeah, I'm excited. And the first question I want to ask you is, how did you meet Leo? Yeah, how did you meet
Uh,
him?
Great question. He sent me a DM on Instagram in 2016 December on my lap. I had an Instagram account with like 20K followers, and it was called Laptop Luxury. And I was just posting like random fucking fancy cars and like dope vacation spots and whatever. And he was doing the same thing. And he had an Instagram account called Light Luxury. And so he just DM'd me and he's like, "Yo, you're doing some cool stuff with email marketing." And so I had like an email sequence that I was using. And so he was just like, "I wanna know what you're doing." And so he was like, "Yo, add me on Facebook." And he was the first guy that I ever connected with online, in terms of like a relationship. Like I added him on Facebook, which I'd never used Facebook for business. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I ended up making a new Facebook account, but that's how we connected, which is kind of insane to think about. Like he was the first guy I connected with online, and like we're still at it today. Which also doesn't make any sense how like our relationship has been fucking wild. And we can talk about that too. But yeah, that's how I met him.
Interesting. So share us a little bit about the business ventures that you're currently in. Leo shared with me that you're part of a New Earth program. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we have the agency, which me and Leo has have been building for. It's gone through a lot of iterations, and this has kind of been his main thing. Like he's always been fantastic at. He's a big thinker. Like this guy thinks big, and so in the agency is like higher ticket deals. We're working with 7, 8, 9 figure companies, and we're just essentially doing their marketing, doing their social media, the marketing on the front end on the with the social media, helping them with content, helping them express themselves. My genius is content creation, authentic expression, camera, whatever. This is what I've been doing for a decade, and I'm still fucking nervous, hopping on these kinds of things, which that's just the nature of the beast. Um, and so the second business we have is a coaching business where we essentially teach what we do for our clients in the agency. So it's teaching people how to start their brand. What's their brand foundation? Who are they? Like, what the fuck do you want to talk about? What's your core? What is your unique essence? And then really combining strategy with your unique expression. And then that is essentially your personal brand. Because you need strategy, but a lot of especially more conscious people find a lot of resistance with social media, with branding, with strategy, because it's like, oh fuck, I don't want to put myself in a box. I don't want to do something that's out of integrity, that's not aligned. I'm not going to put some fake timer on my marketing sales funnel. Like fuck that. And so people kind of just go fuck strategy overall, which is not the best place, because if you actually have an open heart and you give a fuck, like you need to have followers. Like that's the people we need to empower. So the whole mission with the coaching business is to empower those people. And for me, for the last 2 years, that was my biggest pain point. Like, how the fuck do I navigate this path of spirituality and awakening at the same time show up on social media and go viral and grab people's attention when I feel like I'm being such a fucking sleazy piece of shit with these hooks and whatnot? And it's like, and it's shadow work on steroids, man. It really is. And so the coaching business is combining spirit and business and strategy, marketing, and yeah, Leo calls it the path of the enlightened entrepreneur, which I think is perfect. So yeah, that's what it is.
Hmm. Nice. Would you mind maybe bringing your camera, or not camera, but the microphone slightly closer, or maybe turning up a little bit?
Up like this,
Yeah, that should. I'm just looking at the level, so
and I can bump it even more. You know, what about that?
I think that should do it. Yes.
Check. Yeah.
Yes. So the next question is, I saw your Instagram. You have a quite a big Instagram following, over 300,000 followers. How did you build that? Tell me about that. What's the core message, and what are you doing on there?
That's also been a work in progress. I think I started that account in 2017. And like when I started, I was just posting other people's travel content. And then I kind of started posting my own photos. And then actually, before I was business partnered with Leo in the agency, he had the agency on his own. So actually, when I was at like 30,000 followers, which I built myself, I paid Leo. I think I paid his agency like $13,000. Um, yeah, I think it was about $13,000 for him and his team to basically get me to 100K followers, which they did. And we made a whole like YouTube campaign about it, kind of collabed. I was big on YouTube back then. Um, and um, and then I stopped posting for probably 3 years, because after that, I actually ended up going and working for Leo. I was burnt out with building my own YouTube channel. And so in 2020, start of 2020, I basically kind of quit doing my own thing and I became Leo's employee, which was an interesting dynamic switch for sure. We were still young, still had a lot to prove, big egos, and now I'm going to like I'm actually baffled by my choice, like how I ended up doing that. Like how did I, because I had a massive ego. And so the fact that I did that, I'm really impressed with. But it was just like I can learn from this guy. And so I didn't post on my brand for 3 years, and I ended up losing 60,000 followers during that time. And then I think start of 2022 or mid of 2020, no, end of 2022, actually, yeah, end of 2022, start of 2023 is when I got really back into posting again. And I was like, I'm fucking doing this thing. And it was always my deepest passion, was content creation and building my own brand. And so during the time working for Leo, it was kind of like, just fucking head down, like it will come in time. Just be patient. Like you're gonna build your brand. We know this. Just focus on this for now, which was great. And so then 2023, I really went all in and started posting again. So yeah, it's been basically 2 years of going from 40K to now 300, and yeah, I think I'm at 330K now.
Give us some lessons that you've learned from having such a big Instagram following. What did you learn from that?
Yeah. Don't take anything personal, because people are going to project all their shit on you. Like as an influencer, as a brand, like you're really just a big mirror for other people. And so you're essentially just showing them themselves through you. If they get inspired by you, well, that means that something within them is also aligned with this way of moving, expressing yourself, traveling, building business, whatever. If they get triggered, well, there's a shadow there that is exposed. So that has been big, because my nature, like I'm super emotional, and like during my entire childhood, I would suppress my emotions a lot because I'm also a high achiever. And like whatever I did, no matter if it was snowboarding, trampolining, school, like I would smash it. And I was the best person at any given sport that I knew in my entire friend circle. And I had a lot of friends. And so I just had to beat everyone at everything. And that was also a way for me to kind of suppress my, like mask my own emotions, because it took nothing for me to cry. And I remember once, like, people in school figured out that it was easy to make me cry, and they basically gathered a bunch of people and just gathered around me, and they just looked me in the eye. That's all they did. And after like 10 seconds of having 5 people look me in the eye, I started fucking bawling, and they were laughing. And I was like, "Fuck." So there's a lot of trauma around expressing my emotions. And so yeah, I've always really taken hate to me. It's like, and still to this day, if people say something negative about me, like, it really hurts. Because it's still this, because a part of me believes it. A part of me agrees. Yeah, you're not enough, Thor. Like, you still got more to prove. You still got further to go. Which is, again, the fucking performance anxiety. Like, it's connected to my core wound of nothing that I ever do is enough. That's my core childhood wound. So when you're on social, like, you're gonna have that smacked in your face. So there's been many times I've considered quitting because it's intense, man. It's really intense. But yeah, that's been my biggest thing, because that's the only thing that's gonna stop you from expressing yourself authentically on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever it is people's feedback, is people perception of you. And so if you can let go of the need to please anyone, you're gonna be in a good position. And you can really just create and flow and be and go.
That sounds like one of the benefits you received from building your brand and growing your social influence. Would you say
Yeah.
there's a bigger benefit, or what is the biggest benefit that you've gained from this?
Oh, my life, man. My life, the people I have around me, the relationship I have with my mom, the obviously the freedom, being able to do whatever the fuck I want to do when I want to do it, the clarity, the self-improvement, the level of peace and happiness I feel. I wake up every day and I'm genuinely fucking gassed to be alive. I'm stoked to show up on team meetings. Like, every team meeting, every meeting I have, you can imagine me and Leo are business partners. Like, we have the fucking sickest time. We're building business, sure, but like, we're hanging out, we're talking shit, we're like just fucking navigating life together. Like, and so that is the biggest thing, actually. Like, beyond the freedom, being able to travel the world, do whatever the fuck I want to do, is actually the people that I have around me. And I have a lot of friends from my childhood that I'm still really close with, but I spend less time with, obviously, because not all of them are on the path. But the people that I've attracted, man, like, every person in the team found me through Instagram and joined one of our programs. The clients that we work with, incredible people. And Leo, obviously, like, fuck, man, I would be nowhere. He is the most impactful person in my life. Like, there's not been a single person that has had a greater impact on my life. And so massive kudos and love to Leo. So yeah, bro, the people, like the tribe you attract. And you want to find your soul tribe, bro? Fucking start talking on social media and announce to the world, like, yo, this is who the fuck I am. Who fucks with me? And then the people that want to be around you, they're gonna attract. They're gonna flock through. And same thing with you. Like, you're around people and talking to people. Why? Well, because you put yourself out there. And so, yeah, dude, the people, really the people. And beyond that, the second thing I would say is also purpose. Gaining clarity on my purpose, why the fuck I'm here. My like, I'm crystal clear on exactly why I'm here and what I'm here to do and my work in this life, and the greater, the cosmic context to everything that I do. And that's only a product of me showing up on social and, yeah, sharing, creating content, receiving feedback from an audience, connecting with people, doors open. Like, dude, I can travel to most countries on planet Earth and know multiple people there and have the sickest time because people want to take me around and show me a good time. And so it's like, literally everything has been improved. And I also mentioned my relationship with my mom. We used to fight my entire childhood. Like, every, like, 3 to 4 times a day, we would have a big fight because we both had massive egos and a lot to prove. And when I dropped out of high school to pursue online business full time, it shattered her. And I was still living at home at the time. And so 3 months, those first 3 months living at home was so painful. It was hell on earth. It was so bad. And I couldn't even talk to her because she was broken. She failed her son. You know how it is. And so that sucked. But then I continued on my path and I'm doing my thing and I'm making money. I'm inspiring some people and traveling. And I'm like, I'm actually, I'm doing it. Like, I'm not dying. Like, mom, it's all good. And that, for one, was big for her. But how much my happiness has increased, how satisfied I am with life, I bring that energy when I see her, but also on a more spiritual level, like as a man, as a woman, as whoever, you're deeply connected to your mom. Like, sure, when you're born, they cut the cord, but the energetic cord is never cut. It's always there. And so your relationship with your mom, like, that's an important relationship, man. It's really important. And so, yeah, just like seeing how happy she is, it just yeah, it's like I literally talk with my mom for an hour on the phone. Like last time we spoke on the phone, we spoke for an hour, and like that blows my mind. And I loved it, and it's so amazing, and it's so expansive. And even just now, I feel super emotional talking about this. And so, just the love that I can bring to people around me, that's that's it, bro. That's it.
Tell us, let's say somebody out there is trying to start an Instagram following. What are some advice you can give them? What's the best way to grow an Instagram following? Maybe in a sentence or two, what would you say?
Mm. The best way. If I only really could give one piece of advice, it would be to tell them to just look at what other people they are inspired by are doing and just model success. Mimic what they're doing in your own style. That would be the most efficient way, because the biggest mistake people make with Instagram is trying to reinvent the wheel. And when I'm saying trying to reinvent the wheel, is like they'll do everything too different, too like in a way too uniquely, which can be like, but I want to be unique. I want to express myself authentically. Yes. But also there is an element to strategy, which is also where understanding human psychology goes in. There's a reason certain fonts work. There's a reason certain content templates work. It's because it's familiar to people, and oftentimes the simplest stuff does the best. And so tweak some variables, but don't tweak every single variable, because now you're reinventing something completely different, which you can have massive success with, absolutely, but it's going to take a lot more time. So model what's working and then make your own unique spins to that.
I want to pivot the conversation towards Mariam Magdalena, because what do you know about her? Tell me.
That was such a drastic 180, bro. Nice. Yes. What do I know about her? What do I know about Mariam?
Well, let me guess. I should add more. Leo introduced me to her. I made some videos about her. She had some very extravagant claims. From what I can see,
Yeah.
very highly spiritual, but also triggers a lot of people. Makes a lot of people very angry. So,
Yeah. Well, I've known her for almost a year, I think. Leo introduced me to her in March, April last year. And yeah, I met up with her and some other people in Portugal. We spent a week together, lived together, which was a great time, super fun. We went fucking go-karting and just talked about New Earth, and like she had this vision and she'd been gathering these people, and she'd seen me on Instagram, so she wanted me involved in the project. And synchronistically, she was like telling Leo, like, yo, I want this guy to be a part of this. And Leo's like, yo, that's my business partner. Like, what? So they didn't even know that that was a connection. So yeah, great time. Big, ideas, and I think we're a group of like 8 people, 7, 6, 7. And then I met her again for a retreat. She did a back-to-back retreat, 2 weeks of retreats in May, something like that, I think, in Amsterdam, and or somewhere in the Netherlands. Breda, I think, was the place. And that too was awesome. Like, she has a lot of great wisdom. I've learned a lot from her. And then after the retreat, kind of like everything, she kind of just burnt everything to the ground. Is the best way to explain it. Yeah. So like the way I see her is like a friend of mine told me, I don't know, yeah, basically like, or he said this quote, and he was like, when the ego gets entangled with awakening, it creates chaos. And that's exactly how I perceive Mariam. Like her ego is insane, like super, super invested in, I guess, this identity of being this. And she's made a lot of like fucking wild claims. Like, I am the second coming of Christ. And like any normal person with a brain and some discernment will, take that and it's like, sure thing, it's a ridiculous thing to say. And also it is true, but so am I. And so are you. We're all the second coming of Christ. The second coming of Christ is not a fucking person. And it's like, it's obvious, but if you're in a world where there's a lot of confusion and distortion, like I can totally see how people kind of just get caught in that and convinced in that, because she's got a lot of, she's got fucking power. She's a powerful woman. She's very convincing, and there's a lot of confidence in her and what she's speaking. But yeah, it's as far as I see, I believe she's had her awakening experience of opening the crown chakra, and you kind of merge with God and you see it all. And I think her ego is just really, really a deep part of that experience. And so instead of kind of liberating her from the ego, it just enchanted her ego. And she's running from that. That would be my perspective. Yeah.
Understood. Tell us about the new Earth. How do you see? What vision do you have of this?
The new Earth. What is the new Earth? I mean, imagine just the society of people of the consciousness of Jesus. Like, that's the big picture. The you could say the end destination, but every end is also a new beginning. But like, that's pretty much what we're moving towards. It's just a society of enlightened people that have worked through all of their distortions and purified and just live in harmony. And everything will be slightly different. Like the way we move, the way finance and currency and business works is going to be different. What we're eating is going to be different. And you're not going to have obviously people fucking around and wasting their sexual energy or drinking a bunch of alcohol and whatnot, like just purifying across the board. Like no meat eating, which is, I know, is a big topic for a lot of people, and I've been eating meat my whole life, but it's appeared in my consciousness at one point because I've been around a lot of meat eating people. Vegans. And yes, like, can you really kill an animal in a spiritual way? Nah, I don't know if I've never found an answer that makes sense, and I don't think you can. And so, yeah, it's just a purified society, basically. Now, how do we get there? Well, step by step. And there's going to be communities that are trying to resemble, like, me and Leo have been talking about building a community for a long time, and we got a massive online community. And this year, a big topic is kind of bringing that in person. But one big thing which I see in like these realms, especially around highly spiritual people, is the condemnation of people that are not on their level in terms of consciousness, awareness, or way of being. Like if you're trying to build a new Earth community, for example, which I am, like, I can't be judging people that are on a lower consciousness level than me. There needs to be sort of a patience and a compassion. Yes, if you're building a land project, like, there's going to be certain, you could say, rules, or like, yeah, fucking don't watch porn. Like if you need to watch porn, you're not ready to be on the land. But if you still sometimes, I don't know, it could be whatever. But if you're still judging other people, for example, or you're still out of integrity with your word, you say you're going to do something, but then you don't always do it. Like, are we going to condemn that person or just support them in their evolution? So yeah, it's meeting people where they are, understanding where people are, and I guess just leading by example. That's really it. Like, walking the talk, walking from, like, yeah, giving a shit, like walking with an open heart. That's really the transition from the third energy center up to the heart, from ego to compassion, unconditional love, understanding. And so, not judging people. And for me, this is a big thing. Like, it's so easy. Instantly, I judge people. The first time I saw you, I judged you automatically. It's how we've been programmed. And on some of us, it's more extreme. Like, if you judge yourself a lot, which I've done my entire life, you're going to be insanely judgmental towards other people. And so it's yeah, reprogramming, which takes time. But I think some core foundational values of New Earth, probably the best foundation of New Earth values as I've seen is the Four Agreements, which is a book, and it's a fantastic book. And it's be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, um, always do your best, and don't take anything personal. And I think that's a fantastic foundation to start at.
Tell us about your spiritual journey. How did you start on this path?
How did I start? I got into my first step was business, like getting into business, which then online business got me into uh, personal development. I was watching a lot of Jim Rohn, and I think through a personal development video, I found out about meditation as a way of personal development. And then meditation became my gateway into the world of spirituality. And I remember my first time meditating, my mom walked in on me once and she sees me sitting on a chair just breathing. And she was like freaking out because she thought I was on drugs or doing drugs and then meditating and breathing to like counteract the drugs, which was hilarious. Um, but yeah, that got me into it. I could only fucking do 2 minutes at a time and I was fucking done. Like meditation was not my cup of tea. And then I had a mushroom trip with Leo actually in Ibiza at the north of the island in 2019. And that was like my first spiritual awakening. I came home from that trip and I was like, wow, I'm like, I'm moving so smoothly. I'm driving slower because there's no rush. I'm walking slower. I'm talking slower. Like I was just more content. And I experienced like a level of happiness and fulfillment, satisfaction that I'd never experienced before. Um, and that would fiddle away, but then I was like, wow, this is it. Like this is the path. It's not doing more. It's like whatever this is, like I'm all in. And from that point, I was all in.
Wow. I think this is it. I think we should conclude this episode, keep it nice and short and sweet. But Thor and I will take a 5 minute break and we will join the Discord. So you can join the Discord by clicking the link in the description. And there's a limit of 25 people that can join with videos. And you can say hello. You can ask Thor or myself any question that you want. It'll also be recorded and published on YouTube later. So thank you, Thor, for joining me on this podcast. And I'll
Yeah,
see you
thank you
soon.
for having me.
Thank you. So I'll see you soon on the Discord.
Yep.
Take care.